Is it time to make a change in your life? Are you looking at a way to build some healthy habits? There's a book out there that can help you, and it is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And we'll be discussing it in today's episode. And we're going to be looking at how a book inspired a podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, and fresh off the interviews from Ficks and Webb, we are going to be bringing you a brand new episode today where we're going to be talking about the book Atomic Habits. Now, Atomic Habits was a book that really inspired the birth of the podcast and the relaunch, and I'm back with Kip today to talk about it. If you have missed any of the previous episodes, though, they will be available on the Inside the Orange playlist, so check that out so you never miss an episode. Before we do get into today's episode, though, here is how you can support us for what we do, how to find us and get in touch so you can support us with the podcast. At the Inside the Orange podcast, we're about creating positive change through organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude and engagement. And you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram at Inside the Orange, on X at Orange Watts, and the Inside the Orange podcast on Facebook. We want you to reach out and help build the community. And finally, here is a reminder of our upcoming fundraiser that we'd love you to support our GoFundMe, which is available in the show notes and description. Here's more about it right now. We are back and on the road again. This year we are doing our 40 for 40. We are walking 40 miles for the Anna Kennedy Online Autism Charity, raising awareness, acceptance and promoting inclusion of autism and autistic people. We are going to be going out on the 19th of July for our longest walk ever, and you can join us and support us via our GoFundMe page, available in the show notes and description. Check it out and support us today, and let's make 2025 an amazing year supporting this great charity. So into today's episode, and yes, Kip is back and we'll be talking about Atomic Habits and the interviews that we've had so far. So here's over to me and Kip. So I am joined again by my co-host. I love saying that. It's brand new, but it feels great. And it has been quite a few episodes since we last spoke. We're here today to talk about the first couple of interviews we've had and to kind of break them down a bit, but also a book that we both find really inspirational, I think, is the right word for bringing back the Inside the Orange. We'll get to that in a bit, but first of all, welcoming back to the podcast again, Kip. How is everything with you since our last meeting?
I'm very well, sir. How are you?
I'm good. It's been busy and it feels a long time since we chatted. Obviously, in real life, we have spoke to each other since the podcast had gone on, but that's the theatre of podcasting. It looks like it's been ages since we sat down together. And yeah, I mean, we are going to be doing some more of these shows in between where we've got the interviews, but we're also going to break down some bits together and just look at some different aspects and books and things that we've looked at in our own time and kind of discuss them together. And we invite the listeners, the viewers, that we invite people to have their say. So things we're going to be talking about in these episodes, we want to hear from people about it, how it's affected them and their thoughts and views. We're just Absolutely. Two guys with our views. We want to hear from more people, don't we, Kip?
Absolutely, yeah, correct.
Absolutely. So, so the most recent episode that people would have seen would have been Ficks and Webb in the interviews. It seems a long time now since we broke down all the elements of the 6 segments that we were bringing. One of the segments, of course, is reading, and we wanted to bring you a bit of an episode today about Atomic Habits, first and foremost, which is a book by James Clear that I think it's quite inspirational to the podcast forming. I remember, Kip, if it's right, that we were planning to put this together, and I kind of sent through some ideas about 1% change, and you said you've been reading Atomic Habits, haven't you?
I did.
Just how important is the book to you from what you've read?
Very probably out of all the books I've read, this is probably one of those ones that I've taken away most of the ideas and have implemented into my life and have helped me more than any other book I've read, I think.
Absolutely. So to clarify what it is, we're just going to give it a bit of a breakdown. Now, in the next episode, we're going to be talking about this app a little bit more, but we're getting a breakdown from an app called Blinkist, and people might use it, but we're going to give you the outline, we're going to explain the author, but then, yes, we're going to kind of break down some of the key takeaways that we found. So Atomic Habits, which was written in 2018, provides a practical and proven framework for creating good habits and shedding bad ones. Drawing on scientific research and real-life examples, it shows how tiny changes in behaviour can result in the formation of new habits and help you achieve big things. That's the beauty of Blinkist. It's a better description than I could have ever done in an introduction. It takes 20 minutes to introduce anything, so that's a really good breakdown. It's by author and entrepreneur James Clear, who focuses on habits and potential to support self-improvement. So firstly, what a book to start talking about. And you can hear just from that why we've based this series on some of that idea. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's an absolutely amazing book. Also, I think you read it. I do mine by Audible, but yeah, both versions really helpful. Like I said, I've taken loads away from this book to help me in my own life, as I think you have as well. So.
Yeah. So again, we talk about one of the key aspects, and I said to you at the time, if people can just make a 1% change, and I think that line is in the book, and you went, Rich, you've read Atomic Habits, haven't you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's as simple as that 1% change thing, and that's again that positive change. I think some of the areas for me that really stood out was things like he kind of did 4 behaviors to kind of start new habits, and 4 behaviors to stop them. And to start them, it's about making them attractive, making them visible, and complete opposite of the bad habits, make them ugly, make them harder to do,
Unattractive, yeah. Put barriers in the way, that kind of thing, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a key point, but it sounds so simple when you talk about it. But why do you think that was a challenge? Why do you think, as I say, it is that simple though, isn't it? I think for me, the weight loss has been take the stuff out the house I don't want to eat and put stuff in the house that I like and is going to be better for me.
Absolutely, yeah. It's removing those cues, isn't it, as he calls it. So there's cues that obviously take you to a habit, and cues for bad habits as well. So like in terms of the cues, I suppose water's a good one for me. So I wanted to start having water in the morning. It's something I always forgot to do, and because I suffer with migraines, it's dehydration is one of those things. I've got to start having water in the morning. I just always forgot. Get up, you do early for work, you crack on, and so I thought, oh, I'd have something that could like be a cue. So I just set a simple alarm on my phone. So when I knew I'd be downstairs, have my and it would remind me to have my water. And then stuff like if you have medication to take before bed, put it on the sink before where you brush your teeth and stuff like that. So yeah, that was helpful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, the book starts, and one of the key things that it kind of breaks down in the early aspects is small habits can have a surprisingly powerful impact on your life. And when I go back to the dieting, it was about making quite a big change, but at the same time, it wasn't. It was just replacing what I ate with different things, and it was just about making sure I was doing small changes, doing the small bits instead of leaving myself till I got that I felt really hungry. And again, it was just making no small things. But do you think that's the key point, that because it is small, it's overlooked? We just overlook the importance of drinking water. We overlook the point of taking that medication because it seems such a minuscule part of the day.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like taking on anything, is it? It's just overwhelm, isn't it? So it takes away the overwhelming factor if you just do it bit by bit. Like I say, 1% changes, some small things here, little cues here. It makes it less overwhelming, doesn't it? Which is obviously it makes it a lot more attractive.
Yeah, and I remember there's a fantastic video I watched years ago from Simon Sinek about how long does it take for you to fall in love with someone? How long does it take for you to kind of lose some weight at the gym? And it's really hard to kind of ascertain a time. But I think in the book, it kind of talks more about a certain period of time that if you can use potentially 60 days where you're doing this, after that 60 days, that has almost become ingrained into
Yeah.
your habits. And it sounds a long time, but in reality, it's not. But it's, and again, this is where it comes back to some of the stuff and why I found you so impactful for doing the podcast. There was a thing you sent me that said where motivation finishes, discipline starts, and it was the kind of thoughts that
Yep.
once you get, you do lose that kind of new diet bars or whatever, but it's then where that discipline has to kick in to get you to that 60 days. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. That's when discipline has to take over, isn't it? It's we'll have those moments where you don't feel like going to the gym, and but the best way is to go anyway. And
Mm.
or even if we're talking about like starting small and doing little percent changes, there's times I don't fancy going to do a workout. I think, right, I'm going to go into the garage. I'm just going to do one set of push-ups. Something's better than nothing. 9 times out of 10, you get in there, you put your kit on, you think you end up staying in there doing a whole workout. So yeah, so again, taking this ethos from this book, small little steps, even just you don't fancy going for a walk. I'm just going to go around the block tonight. 9 times out of 10, when you're out there, you end up staying out there anyway. So it's just that little start, just starting small, and yeah, it's helpful.
It is, and you make a really good point there as well. We're looking at the and it talks about to build those habits, putting those rewards in as well. So do you
Yeah.
have you took that away from the book as well about actually, let's reward the good behavior. Let's put that is it serotonin or sorry or dopamine in your brain that says if I do this, I will get that, but about positive things. Do you feel you took that away from the book or
Yeah, he speaks but it's like making them attractive and unattractive, isn't it? It's
mm,
giving you reasons to do it. And what's the one example he used? It's just a quite simple thing, even like marbles in a jar, moving them from one to the other. Each time you do one of your tasks, you tick it off, and when you see the other side stacking up, it gives you that motivation to then carry on. And I found the habit rating as well. So you're rating your habits from what the bad, neutral, sort of positive. So I don't know, getting up, brushing your teeth would be a neutral rating habit. Something bad would be, say, if you're trying to lose weight, having a donut for your breakfast, you'd label that as bad.
mm,
In the same breath, if you're trying to lose weight and you're waking up and making a healthy breakfast, you'd label that as positive.
mm,
And then over time, you try and balance out the good, more balance of the good habits and the bad habits. And
mm.
yeah, I find that bit quite useful as well.
Yeah, and again, it's having that kind of visual thing, or even that spoken word sometimes of using good with good things and using bad with bad things to put that kind of idea in your head of which side of the thing is. And I know people are going to be, battling against this, saying, "Yeah, but what's that mean? You can never have a donut." It doesn't. It's just when you are eating, and I'll simplify it for myself. When you're eating a donut every single day of the week, that is a normal habit for people. What this means is that if you ate one donut and didn't have one for the rest of that 7 days, that's actually a positive move against
Yeah,
having one every single day. So we're not saying, and I think it's probably, I've really used it with a diet, this book incredibly, thinking about things like Christmas. I can't ignore Christmas. I can't tell my whole family, no, I am not going to eat anything other than one salad leaf. I'm not going to do that. But you are aware of when you've come away from what that is to when you're doing it. And again, even using the Christmas period, knowing that's out of the habit of your normal food behavior that you want to then get back into. And I think what's really good is your body starts telling you that as well. Your body starts
yeah,
working with these habits, going, do you know what? Over Christmas, it couldn't wait to get back onto a bit more of a planned diet. My body, as soon as I did, my sleep was better and everything. My body was almost yearning for that. But because of over the years of the bad habits, that wasn't even a consideration. Christmas Day was just another big dinner as opposed to the day before the day before. So
yeah.
it is really good to kind of have that kind of ownership, but knowing and physically being aware of the good and the bad. And like you say, the
And
nutrients.
that's it. It's awareness, isn't it? It's
Mm,
making yourself so. It's not trying to make yourself feel bad. It's just rating your habits and just makes you a bit more self-aware of what you would label as a bad habit. It doesn't mean you can't ever do it, but it's just making you more self-aware of the habits you do and where you would rate them.
And again, like you said, the book is very good at saying make it attractive. Now, you've talked in the opening episodes about activity. You've talked about your home gym. You've talked about using your diet aspects of that and kind of researching. But is it as much as you making sure you put your gym equipment out, or your gym wear out? Does that help you from the book take that kind of way forward?
Absolutely, yeah. Same if you're doing any kind of cardio. They say, don't they, if you want to go for a run, lay your running kit out, and it's quite surprising how such a small step can stop people doing these things. And I think, oh, I've got to go and sort out my clothes and my trainers. Just laying it out in the morning, and even just, I think it mentioned, is it in this book? Even putting a gym kit on, even if you just do that for a week and then take it back off, and then the next step again with 1% changes. Next step, go out to the garage, have a walk around the garage in your gym kit. Just getting into that habit of doing that, and then build up slowly.
And yeah, I mean, as I said, it's really interesting because Atomic Habits did come up in the meetings or the episodes, I should say. Long day. They did come up in that, and I think it is impactful. A book like Atomic Habits, where it is that, and it's this kind of level of self-help. But what I think is really good, and I think there's a couple of books that I think we read before the podcast kind of launched that, well, in fact, I think you told me about one in particular that complemented quite well. And I'll come to that book in a minute. But it was, for me with this, it wasn't just reading a book. It really encourages you to take that ownership. It kind of gives you tasks. It kind of gives you some bits to kind of try this as well, doesn't it?
And it's easy enough. It's easy enough to try, isn't it? Because it is such small steps. It's easy enough to do. It's very simple to follow and easy to implement, which makes it more attractive to people to give it a go, doesn't it? I mean, did you use the habit stacking at all?
Just go through that for me. Just remind me.
So, when you're tacking one habit onto another, so you don't forget to do. So, as an example, so when I said about the water, so I'm now in. Oh, I don't need my alarm anymore. I get first thing I do. I have two big glasses of water. I also like to take a multivitamin every day. I'm terrible for remembering to take tablets, so I kept forgetting to do it. So in the morning now, I'll put a glass out at night, ready for my water. Next to it, I'll just put me multivit. So now, even if I don't leave my multivit out now, I'm so used to it, the habit. So I'll stack that other habit onto that habit, and now it's just automatic. I get up, 2 glasses of water, take my multivitamin, and yeah, it's just simple. And it is so simple. You think, well, I've done that before, but yeah, it works.
And yeah, absolutely. Thank you for reminding me of the name. Sometimes the name, I will say to listeners, I'm very good at the theories and understanding, but sometimes when I hear the name of it, it loses me. But when you explain it, oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
My poor little brain. But yes, I think my diet and my activity have been the habit stacking, have been the fact that actually I don't think I'd be doing the fitness and the activity that I do now without the fact that the diet had to lead that in. And I think that's what the segments for us is all about and has been about, is it hasn't just been one thing that fits it. And again, I say this and I defend my segments a lot, or the segments a lot, but organization, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude, engagement, it has took something across each one.
Absolutely,
to create this to how I'm feeling and doing now and why the weight loss is happening. But it's because I've become more organized. It's because I will plan that I will play football on a Monday, and a Wednesday I'll go for a run, and a Friday I'll go for a run, and a Sunday. And it's about that. So making sure that my works calendar also links that way as well, that it's not going to give me a challenge on a Wednesday to do a run or whatever. And it literally just, it is. It's
I mean, talking and running, like the couch to 5K. I know we're going to talk about another time. But the couch to 5K. Obviously, once you get to, I don't know, say you get up to 10 miles, and it's just taking that extra step, isn't it? So most people put that pressure on themselves. Oh, I've got to try and get another mile. And if you take the 1% philosophy, you think all you got to do is an extra point of a mile. Anyone can do that. And then the next day you do another point of a mile. It's just that 1%, just an example of that 1% change really over a 10-mile run. Just don't put your pressure on yourself. You've got to achieve this, you've got to achieve it. Just do it in small little bits. And by the end of the year, it all adds up. That's the point, isn't it? It's all these 1% add up. And you come to the end of the year, it's a huge change where you think you're making a tiny change each time. When you get to the end of the year, you look back, you think, well, that's accumulated, and that's a massive change. And I've done that. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And again, we go back to that reward thing. make sure you own it. And again, write the days where it's been challenging, write the things down when it hasn't gone well, but celebrate, please celebrate when you've
Yeah.
gone, do you know what? This and this and this has equaled why I've done that. We do want people to go and read the book. So we're not going to use these kind of book clubs to go deep in and go chapter by chapter or anything like that. We want to give people a bit of an idea to go to whet the appetite, to do James Clear and all the other authors who write these amazing books a real favour of actually say, look, we found this really useful. Go and have a look. And again, I don't think we'd be sitting here recording this episode today or anything so far if I hadn't read this book. And
Absolutely.
it is one of the things I read back into 2024. We talked about it a lot. And again, when we were setting up the series and everything, there was definitely keys to Atomic Habits through that. I did mention about a book that complements it, and I think maybe I'm wrong for saying this, Kit, but you may have read this before and I read it afterwards. But I think what complemented it well was reading "You Can't Hurt Me" by David Goggins, because I
Yeah.
think it almost took the habits, and then of course David Goggins likes to go a little bit further, but he then uses that accountability, those huge words. So it's a really good complementing books of reading Atomic Habits and reading You Can't Hurt Me. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a little bit more extreme, like you say, but so that's the story of how he was quite a chubby guy, wasn't he? A bit overweight. He was in the army, and then he kept trying to get into was it special forces, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It failed, and then he just like, I need to stop making excuses of myself. And from that day forward, he's been. They call him the hardest man on the planet. He's just phenomenal what he's achieved,
Mm.
just through grit and determination. It just shows you that anybody can do it.
Absolutely. And you're right. There was almost like the reading the chapters of the books saying, there's no way you got over this. And then there's something he gets over. And, if you're from childhood, and again, we'll break down You Can't Hurt Me, because I think that's another amazing book for people
Absolutely, yeah,
to
definitely.
go out and have a look at. But I think it complements Atomic Habits so well. And again, I'm just so grateful that, James Clear wrote this book and we've been able to sit and talk about it. We want to encourage people. So these episodes are always going to have the links. We want you to use the email, the Instagram, the X as it's now called. I'm still getting better with that, and the Facebook page. If you've read this book, Atomic Habits, what were your key takeaways? We want to build a community. If you haven't read Atomic Habits, we're going to put it into the social media for the week as well, so you'll be able to go out and have a look and have a look. I'm sure lots of people have read it. I know it's a huge bestseller, but I think one of the things we wanted to really focus on with reading this year, Kit, was but you only realise that sometimes get a book when someone recommends it to you. And that's what we wanted to be, wasn't it? We wanted to be that thing that actually we're not assuming everyone's read it. Actually, if this is the first time you've read it, we want to kind of champion books that help that positive change, don't we?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, and that's like you say, Atomic Habits. It's been one of them which I think for a lot of people has been quite life changing. Just into implementing these tiny little things that make such a huge difference.
Absolutely. And guys, as I say, get in touch. We want to hear it, want to share it. We want to build the community. We want to build this book club. We want to talk to more people about it. This isn't the last time we'll be mentioning it. As I say, it's such a big part of why we're sitting here with Inside the Orange this year. And again, we are just grateful for it, but we want to keep sharing this story. We want to share your views. So please get in touch. Like I said, Kip, it was spoke about in a recording in my meeting with Chris Webb. He talked about it as much as other books as well. And it's just been great to kind of sit down with people and get their views on organization and all of the aspects we talked about. The guys I've spoke to in the first or the last two episodes, again, if you haven't seen them, guys, please check out the Inside the Orange playlist. You can see every episode on YouTube, or you can listen to it on Spotify. Ficks, I'll talk about first. So he was the one that 2 weeks ago. He talks about the impact of reading. He told me 650 books, Kip, in 25 years. And you'll love this, he's documented the fact he's read 650 books. But he said a really key thing. He gives a book 100 pages. If it's no good,
Yeah,
he stops reading. Do you
he's
pay
patient man
yourself
then.
that kind of that? Because I'm someone, if I'm in, I've invested, persevere till the end, regardless.
I'll tell it to a Neville. I'll usually give it about 10 pages. If it hasn't grabbed me, I'll put it down. So I'm worse. But yeah, I'll get that absolutely.
Crikey. I'm surprised we got past hello when we met. You only give someone 10. I haven't even said my name in 10 minutes, 10 pages worth of book reading, Kip.
So your hello is 10 minutes, isn't it, Rich? So
But yeah, I mean, that was an amazing point. But he talked as well. There's a book, again, we're going to share through the social medias, and we probably already had the book called The Difference, where people have talked about loss, courage, and overcoming. Some amazing stories he talked about. I mean, he lost his brother-in-law on there was a mountain hike, and he disappeared. He's never been seen since, and the family had to go through that loss. There's some amazing stories of loss in there. But the book, The Difference, it's called, actually focuses on going from that loss, processing it, but creating a positive change, and people who have gone on to more. There was a guy who was a millionaire. He lost everything. He was homeless. He had to rebuild everything. And I think that's the beauty of some of these stories, or why it's important. None of our stories are finished yet, are they? We all go through a lot of stuff. And this again, I'm personally going through some stuff at the moment, and I'm happy to say that. But we have to go through things, but it doesn't define our whole story, does it?
absolutely, mate. Yeah, it's a learning curve, isn't it? We all take lessons every day, and we're all going through our own stuff, and it's key's learning from it, isn't it? And trying to build from it, and try not to make the same mistakes if we can, and yeah, just learn from it.
And one of the beautiful things at Carl's interview at the end, he talks about the dash, right? And it's a poem. I
Yeah,
forget the name of the author. Apologies, I do forget the name. But it talks about a eulogy, and it talks about the fact that you can have. We start with the birth, we get the death, but the biggest part of someone's life is that little dash in the middle. If you ever see a cemetery and a tombstone, it's got the little dash
yeah,
in the middle, but the dash is the biggest part of someone's life. Yet it's defined to that little bit here. It's defined to just that, and it's just so incredible that yes, we there's so much kind of inspiration on those stories, and finding out about people, and I suppose engaging with the dash is what he said. It's kind of like making the most of that dash. It might only be a small part of your life history when we're no longer here, but it's the biggest part. What do you
yeah.
feel
It
with that?
certainly gives you a different perspective, doesn't it? It's yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. Yeah,
Absolutely. And again, Chris Webb, we talked to last week, really up your street. I think, again, when I find people who are uber organized, I got people like yourself.
yeah,
I've got people like Chris who like to plan, they like structure, they like organization. He was quite good, actually, because I always said, I come from a place of chaos. I was chaos completely. But he said there's room for all. But we like to feel that the planned approach, the organisation, does help start that. Can you agree there's room for chaos, Kip? Is that something you're happy to admit on camera?
absolutely. Yeah, at home for me, it's probably it's probably more true than it is at work. But yeah, you got a bit of both, haven't you? It's how much of each, isn't it? Everyone can cope with different amounts of each. As me, myself, and you like to like a bit of structure, like a bit of planning. But you have to be. That's normal life, isn't it? There's times it's going to be chaos. You've got kids, you're married, you got your work in. It's not everything goes to plan. Unfortunately, that's just life, isn't it? As much as we'd like it to, it is. That's not life, is it?
No, absolutely. And one thing I want to kind of say, because again, this really intrigued me when he said it. He talks about reading, and he says, I'm lazy. I don't have time. And we're going to talk about this app, Blinkist. Again, not on commission. It's just something I found and feel something that could be useful. But he said, I'm really lazy. I look at a Blinkist summary, and that's how I get my kind of information from a book. There's nothing wrong with that, is there? We've talked about Kindles, we've talked about hardback books, you've talked about Audible and audio books. There's nothing wrong if someone just wants to peek that summary of what a book is. There's no lazy way, is there?
Absolutely, mate. Knowledge is power, isn't it? However you get that knowledge is whatever benefits you. However you're going to take it in is the best way for you to do it, isn't it? It's
Exactly. No, you're right. Someone could read a 400-page book and get nothing after page one. That's useless. But if that same person could use an app like Blinkist or an audio book or another way of getting that information, it's far more powerful than saying, no, we must read books. We must do it this
absolutely,
way.
mate. Who are we to judge how people should get their information, isn't it?
Mm,
It's what works for people, for different people, isn't it?
absolutely.
It is a good app if you got time constraints or I know we talk about it in a bit, but yeah, it's very good for that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And as I say, it's been fantastic to interview people again and bring people back. They were on the previous episodes of the podcast,
Yeah,
but as I say, there's a lot of people who have brought value that I wanted to bring back and say, actually, let's talk about this more. And it's been lovely to talk about things such as the 6 segments with people and how they use that 6 segments in their life. So it's been really good. And we'll continue to bring you more of these episodes where we kind of break down a little bit in the middle of that, won't we? So it's win-win, shall we say?
absolutely, mate.
Well, guys, look, we are going to kind of finish that for today on this one, but we do urge you to get in touch, to talk to us about anything you've heard. If it is about atomic habits, let us know. Use Instagram, social media, X, Facebook, email, whatever you want to do. Get in touch and tell us about atomic habits. Tell us about things for reading. Tell us about anything you want along the 6 segments. Anything you want to ask myself or Kip. Anything you want us to speak to the guests about to go further on, or some advice or anything. We want you to reach out to us. But as ever, Kip, it's always a pleasure to sit down and have these little chats with you about certain aspects that are driving on the orange. And again, it's been good to start with Atomic Habits, which really started the journey for us both on this, didn't it?
Absolutely, mate. Yes. Great book. Fully recommend it to everybody. And like you say, it's so easy to implement as well. So it's definitely recommended to check it out.
Awesome
And
stuff.
good to catch up with you as well, mate.
Yes, and I'll see you on another episode.
Take care, mate. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to today's episode, and we will be back next week with another interview with James Lindsay, who you may remember from the first series we did in the podcast, and he'll be back talking about his new book, Befriending My Brain, and we'll be talking about that and much more with James. So catch up with us next week on Friday at 5 p.m. We'll see you there. As ever though, before we go, here is also how you can get in touch with the podcast, a reminder of the fundraiser, and as we go, we will say, as always, goodbye and take care. At the Inside the Orange podcast, we're about creating positive change through organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude and engagement. And you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram at Inside the Orange, on X at Orange Watts, and the Inside the Orange podcast on Facebook. We want you to reach out and help build the community. We are back and on the road again. This year we are doing our 40 for 40. We are walking 40 miles for the Anna Kennedy Online Autism Charity, raising awareness, acceptance and promoting inclusion of autism and autistic people. We are going to be going out on the 19th of July for our longest walk ever, and you can join us and support us via our GoFundMe page, available in the show notes and description. Check it out and support us today, and let's make 2025 an amazing year supporting this great charity.